So here we are, another new week, and we're at China today, or in the past couple of days, with the Chinese Grand Prix. Well then look, I'm going to be making 3 videos this week, and the first is going to be on the practices. First practice saw the old feud between Vettel and Webber from last race carry straight in, Webber on one side of the garage, with Vettel on the other side of the garage, completely separated. And we're talking only at the very start of the very first practice at the moment. As well as the ongoing feud between them, we've also got a new wing of Ferrari. See how that does on new cars. Nothing really much happened for the first couple of minutes. But then we had Marching Qua and China's first ever F1 racer driving for Caterham. So very proud moment for him. Very proud moment for China, I'd say. And really, this was probably the most interesting thing to happen on the track until about halfway through, maybe a bit more. Kimi Räikkönen spun on track at turn 9. After this, lap times were getting quicker and quicker, obviously, with Massa putting a good lap time in, and then Rosberg putting a fantastic one in, the first to go into the 1:36 times. And then Hamilton coming right second, only 4 tenths behind him. And there was many people going off in this practice session. Gutierrez going off on turn 1. That very quite strange corner where you've got full throttle right the way in and then quick down changes. Gutierrez going off into the gravel. Pastor Maldonado, his teammate, going off also. However, I think the major crash of this one, or the major crash I say, the major incident in this one was Sergio Perez for the McLaren. Following what Lewis Hamilton did in 2007 of going a bit too fast coming into the pit lane, not being able to turn fast enough, and just sliding off into the gravel and hitting the pit wall, or the back tyre wall of the pit wall. And so at the end of the first practice, we had Rosberg on top, followed by Hamilton. So the 2 Mercedes looking out the top, and the 2 Red Bulls of Webber and Vettel looking out 3rd and 4th. Then Alonso, Button, Massa, Sutil, Grosjean, Paul di Resta, Raikkonen and Verne making up the 12. So you've got quite a mixture, with the Force Indias being quite high up in the top 10. I think for after last week's race, or the couple of weeks ago's race, I think that's quite a good result for them, a strong result for them. And then we get away with underway with free practice number 2. Started off with Van der Garde showing a bit of inexperience, doing a bit of a wobble, nearly having a little bit of a collision with Grosjean in the Lotus. And then unfortunately, we did lose a driver. Max Chilton, the Brit, one of my favourites, had a power loss and had to come off, and that's quite unfortunate for him. Brand new driver, you really don't want that in your 3rd race in to have a power loss in your car. We saw Perez at turn 8 again going off after his incident at the pit lane gravel. He goes off again on a bit of a spin into the gravel. And I don't know what's wrong with Perez. Brilliant car like McLaren, and a driver like himself. With this track, is he a bit of an inexperienced, maybe? Nerves, or is it just the car still being a bit unstable? And then soon after that, Sutil did pretty much exactly the same thing, just not going as far into the gravel. Or he didn't hit the gravel actually, but he spun on the same corner, same place, and pretty much did an exact carbon copy of what Perez did. So it seems like corner 8 is catching a few people out. And we come to Van der Garde again, turn 1, just letting the back go a bit, coming out on the end of it. No serious damage done, not into the gravel. Was able to regain control it pretty quickly. The Mercedes 1-2 again, with Rosberg and Hamilton, setting constantly fast laps, but didn't seem fast enough for Hulkenberg, as Hulkenberg was getting very frustrated behind the 2 Mercedes, telling them to get out of the way and getting over the radio and tell Hamilton and Rosberg to get out of the way, because they just seemed too slow for Hulkenberg. However, Massa then went fastest with a 1:35.3, going half a second faster than Rosberg. And then Kimi Räikkönen jumped up to second, challenging Massa by a tenth of a second. However, one of the main issues in this practice session was the tyres. Vettel, Hamilton, Räikkönen, all complaining that their tyres were degrading very, very quickly. Even Hamilton saying that he'd never seen the tyres act this way before. And then probably the most dramatic part of that practice session was one of the McLaren's T-tray underneath the car catching fire. What that was, we don't know. But it was obviously, it did catch fire and flames were seen. But it was soon put out because the car started moving again. However, all these problems didn't affect Massa. Massa was still flying by, doing really well. And in the last 10 minutes, Max Chilton had another shot of it. Just trying to see what he could do. Until, again, his car broke down. And I really do feel for him. A driver like him, his car breaking down twice in the same practice. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless by that, really. I just feel really sorry for him. And so the top 12 in free practice session 2 was Massa, Räikkönen, Alonso, Rosberg, Webber, Button, and then Hamilton, Suttil, Paul di Resta, Vettel, Perez, and Grosjean. So pretty much seeing the same 12 as last time, just in a bit of a different order this time. And then we come to the third practice. Unfortunately, I didn't see it myself, so I didn't know much about what was going on. Doing a bit of research. Looks like Mercedes again had good pace. They've been in both cars have been in the top 12 all weekend, and I find Mercedes this season are doing brilliantly, especially with Hamilton. Hamilton is flying with Mercedes, and no wonder that's why they're called the Silver Arrows. However, Rosberg did have a bit of a hydraulic problem. And as far as I know, that was the only problem during it. So I've got the top 12 for you here, and that's Alonso, Massa, double Ferrari lockout in first and second. Then we've got Hamilton, third. Again, Mercedes pace. It's brilliant at the moment, I find. Fourth and fifth was Vettel and Webber. Sixth was Suttil. Seventh was Räikkönen. Eighth, Button. 9, Perez. Eighth and ninth, the two McLaren and Mercedes. What's going on with McLaren and Mercedes at the moment, I find? Past couple of races, past this season, they haven't really been performing, and I'm all for Button and Perez. I thought they were going to be a brilliant duo, but they just aren't getting the results at the moment. I'm quite disappointed with them. Then in 10th, we've got Hulkenberg, 11th, Verne, and 12th, Ricciardo. And that gets the top 12 out of the way. So let's just hope we'll get a good qualifying session out there.